Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to our MILO Space Science Institute and Western University Collaboration Agreement, an opportunity for compelling deep science mission and continuing education webinar. Thank you for joining us this morning. I'm Murad Radby, Trade Commissioner for the Government of Canada. More specifically, I manage the Science, Technology, and Aerospace portfolio for Global Affairs Canada in the Southwest USA region from our consulate in Los Angeles. I'm excited to be your moderator today. Although this is a virtual event, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge that the Consulate General of Canada in Los Angeles and the MILO Space Science Institute are located on traditional Indigenous lands, with the former being located on lands historically inhabited by the Tongva people and the latter being located on ancestral territories of the Akimel, Oldam, Pima, and Tiposh Maricopa communities. It is rewarding to see that after many strategic discussions, introductions, and meetings, our combined efforts are coming to fruition today. The MILO Space Institute has been a valuable partner since we first met almost 2 years ago, back in Phoenix, Arizona, allowing us to better service our Canadian science and aerospace ecosystems. In a few moments, we will hear from our great panelists to better understand their respective mandates, most recent collaboration, and future goals. Before that, 2 quick notes to the participant. The chat feature will be disabled. So please use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen throughout the webinar to ask questions. We will be screening those questions and dedicate some time to address them at the end of our session. Any question that we missed today will be answered via our follow-up communication. Secondly, to our panelists, please make sure to keep both cameras and microphones off when not addressing the audience. With those introductory remarks aside, I'm pleased to introduce Mr. David Thomas, Executive Director of the MILO Space Science Institute, to learn more about the Institute's structure, partners, and mission. David, over to you.
Thank you, Murad, for that kind introduction. We're certainly very grateful for the relationship with the Consulate General of Canada and for your efforts. Thank you very much. I also would like to thank and welcome the panelists from the Canadian Space Agency, Western University, and Arizona State University. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the MILO Space Science Institute. We are a nonprofit research collaborative led by Arizona State University with support from Lockheed Martin and GEOshare, which is a subsidiary of Lockheed Martin. MILO was founded really to serve and to provide opportunities such that more scientists, engineers, and students could conduct deep space robotic missions with a high science return. Our mission is really very simple. It's to provide affordable access to deep space science. And that mission is based on the recognition that there's clearly much more deep space science to be done than is currently being done today by the large space agencies. So there's been a tremendous growth in the number of university space programs around the world, as well as the number of space agencies. Some of those may have flight heritage, while others may have had limited access to deep space missions, but they're certainly eager, certainly qualified. And so we're really motivated to provide mission opportunities for as many of these organizations as we can. So we're taking a fairly unique approach. We're building a global consortium of MILO members where each member participates in science-focused deep space missions, and we're doing this for a fraction of the total mission cost. MILO members gain access to scientific expertise at Arizona State University, access to the tremendous systems engineering expertise represented by Lockheed Martin and GEOshare, as well as access to infrastructure and training opportunities. So again, our mission opportunities are designed specifically to develop each member's space science workforce and to promote the growth of their new space economy. We believe in knowledge transfer to our partners in their regions. So I'd like to talk a little bit about our missions. The inaugural missions include a lunar mission to the surface of the moon. We also are looking at missions, or have missions designed that would study near-Earth objects. The first MILO mission in the planning phase is one we call lunar. So this program, this mission leverages the collaboration with Lockheed Martin and their expertise in landing craft. MILO members would have access to available volume on the Lockheed McCandless lunar lander through their commercial lunar payload services program. So there will be an instrument provided by sponsors, and there's available volume that we would offer to our partners to go to the surface of the moon. Payloads would have access to power, data, and telemetry. And member payloads would be delivered to Lockheed Martin, who would take care of the integration onto the lander, as well as the launch, the landing, and surface operations. Outside of the lunar mission opportunity, MILO has developed two near-Earth asteroid or near-Earth object mission concepts. One is called Apophis Pathfinder. The other is called GEOshare that Professor Jim Bell will talk about here in just a few minutes. There are a number of ways that members can participate in these missions. We would like to invite members to provide hardware or instrument contributions and fly that hardware either to the surface of the moon or to these near-Earth objects. This would also provide a seat at the table for milestone review meetings, as well as integration of your payload onto the spacecraft. As a second level of membership, we also offer project-based training. This is really designed to target new and experienced investigators. Member teams would participate in mission designs, mission management workshops. We would provide guidance on the development of science traceability matrices, for example, through our Science Council. MILO experts would be available to support member design reviews, preliminary design review, critical design review, test readiness, and these all provide a tremendous level of experience for investigators who would like to lead future missions. The third level of membership is access to data, where the member would have early access to instrument returns and they would be available for analyses. We're also working with our partners to set up innovation challenge programs within the member nation. And these programs are really designed to bring together government, academia, and industry and address the science challenges in the region. It's a wonderful way to advance or mature payload technologies while also promoting innovation and entrepreneurship simultaneously. So in closing, I'm really excited about this partnership between the MILO Institute and Western University. We have tremendous respect for what's already occurred at Western, and we're definitely looking forward and excited to see what will come. One of the most exciting things perhaps is the fact that this partnership has already produced results in the form of an opportunity for Western University to provide a 1U CubeSat contribution to a larger 6U CubeSat being led by the MILO Institute and the University of Texas, El Paso. And this system is due to launch in 2021. So already the relationship is bearing tremendous fruit. So I'd like to introduce now Dr. Jim Bell. He is the Chief Scientist of the MILO Institute. He's also a professor in the School of Earth and Space Exploration at Arizona State University. He's also the director of the ASU Space Technology and Science Initiative, also called NewSpace. Dr. Bell, to you.
Hey, thank you, David. And thank you, Murad, and thank you to our distinguished, other distinguished Canadian colleagues. This is really, really exciting. Great to be able to have this this announcement, celebrate this signing today. So yeah, Jim Bell, I'm a planetary scientist, chief scientist of the MILO Space Science Institute. And as David mentioned, we're going after deep space science-focused missions, bringing access, involvement, opportunities to universities and space agencies around the world. So really, really an exciting thing to be involved with. And David mentioned our inaugural missions, Lunar Ride, which he talked about, and we'll hear more about that coming up. But I wanted to just briefly talk about the other asteroid-focused missions that we're working on. We looked at near-Earth asteroids as a population that is super important to study from the science perspective. the asteroids are the leftovers from the formation of the planets in our solar system. There are populations of those asteroids that come relatively close to Earth. There's something like 20,000 asteroids that we know of that are close to the Earth. And so there are opportunities to do relatively short timescale missions sort of close to home to study this population. So the first of our asteroid missions is focused on one particular object, and that's called Apophis. Apophis is about a 400-meter or so near-Earth asteroid that occasionally comes relatively close to the Earth. And in 2029, on April 13th, 2029, in fact, it will pass within only about 5 radii of the surface of the Earth, well within the ring of satellites that surround our planet, extremely close to our planet. And it's sort of the type example of the largest potentially hazardous asteroid that will come the closest to the Earth, probably for 1,000 years. Nobody really knows, but it's a rare event. It won't hit the Earth. It's not predicted to hit the Earth anytime soon, but it's representative of the population of objects that have hit the Earth in the past and that could hit the Earth in the future. And so in 2029, we expect that NASA, other space agencies are likely to send missions, perhaps extensive missions to orbit or rendezvous with Apophis and study it in detail, get to know this population really well. And so MILO's idea, our mission concept, is that well before 2029, 2-3 years before, we will conduct a relatively simple small sat flyby mission past Apophis when it's relatively close to the Earth. And so we believe that such a mission will provide really interesting and useful scientific data about this object, but also provide lots of useful information on the geology, maybe the mass, other compositional properties to feed forward to those bigger, more extensive missions in 29 and help them do their job much more efficiently. So we have a number of goals related to Apophis Pathfinder that are focused on critical science questions. Science is the focus of the MILO Space Science Institute, but also on planetary defense issues. What is this population of potentially hazardous objects like, and how do we best study them and learn about them for possible mitigation of future impact events. So we're building a consortium of members of MILO, academic institutions, space agency partners, and over the next few months, we want to hear from organizations, perhaps like yours, that are interested in flying instruments or performing science investigations, contributing in some meaningful way to this mission, Apophis Pathfinder. So there, in addition to the opportunities for payload and subsystems, there's also training options available, training programs available, project-based training, space missions design, the review process, principal investigator training, student training, workshops, etc. And of course, as a member of the mission team, you'll have early access to the data before it gets archived and released to the entire world. So there's opportunities for early scientific analysis of what should be a great data set. We're aiming for launch in sort of the 2025 plus or minus a year time frame, and the close flyby of Apophis would happen 6 to 12 months later. So well before that 2029 event, which is going to be all over the news. It'll be probably the astronomical event of the year in 2029. So that's our first mission, the near-Earth asteroid mission. The second one is called NEOshare, and it's kind of an expanded version of Apophis Pathfinder on a larger scale. The idea is that we would launch in a single launch a cluster of 6 small sats. And those 6 small sats would each perform a flyby of one or more different near-Earth objects. And so we would sample that population of 20,000 that are out there and pick the ones that represent the most interesting scientific targets, the diversity of compositions or sizes that we haven't sampled yet. Out of that 20,000 member population, the world collectively has visited 5 of them with spacecraft. So our one mission with 6 small sats, we think we can get to 8, maybe more near-Earth asteroids. So we would more than double the number that have been encountered up close with flybys. And so that's also very exciting. And the opportunity there is to provide instruments, scientific expertise, all the training and workforce development options I talked about, or entire spacecraft. We're talking about 6 independent small sats. MILO members get to help decide where we would go. We have a science council. Every member has a seat on that science council, and we decide which of that population of 20,000 we go after, and basically, aim for the goals that member institutions are trying to achieve in terms of deep space science. So it's really a very, very science-focused, deep space science-focused endeavor, and we're seeking the involvement of member institutions who want to gain access to what is a very difficult process to gain access to, especially if you're an institute or an agency that doesn't have a lot of experience or what NASA and ESA call heritage. This is a great way to get that heritage. Join a team, contribute much less than you would have to if you're trying to do this all by yourself, but join a consortium. The amazing engineering expertise of Lockheed and GEOshare helps make sure it's going to happen, and the science experience and expertise of ASU and other colleagues on the Science Council help make sure we're going after the most important science questions. So those are our two near-Earth asteroid focused missions, and you heard a little bit about our lunar mission. I am super excited about this collaboration that we're forming with Western and CSA and other parts of Canada. And so I want to turn it over now to my friend and colleague, Gordon Oz Osinski, who's a professor and the Industrial Research Chair in Earth and Space Exploration in the Department of Earth Sciences at Western University in Ontario, Canada. Take it away, Oz.
Thanks, Jim, and thanks for the introduction. It's my pleasure to be here today on this panel. And it was just under a year ago, under very different circumstances, that I sat at a real table with David and Jim at the International Astronautical Congress in Washington, D.C. And I'll repeat here what I said there, which is that I think the goals and the vision of the MILO Institute is a very altruistic one, and I wanted to thank Jim and David and others, and the Consulate office in Los Angeles for bringing us all together, and I'm very excited about this partnership. So the MILO Institute's goals to design, develop, and conduct deep robotic space missions directly align with the vision for our Institute for Earth and Space Exploration here at Western. Created a little over a year ago, building on the success of the former Center for Planetary Science and Exploration, our vision is to launch Western into space and bring the benefit of that down to Earth for all Canadians. In achieving this vision, our goal is to really establish Western as an international leader in interdisciplinary research and an epicenter for training and outreach. In the first year of our institute, we've been developing a strategic roadmap. Our institute brings together faculty from 64 faculty members from 8 faculties and 19 departments across campus, making us truly interdisciplinary in nature. Our research ranges from Earth observation to developing technologies for exploring remote and hard to get to places on Earth and in space, studying planetary materials and planetary processes, galaxies and stars, to also space health, space policy, law, and education. And I mentioned this roadmap. We've developed 5 goals that we want the Institute to do over the next 5 years. And the first 3 of these are research goals, and all of these will benefit from this partnership with the MILO Institute. We want to remotely explore and characterize the solar system and the universe beyond with robots. We want to contribute to the sustainable human exploration of the Moon, Mars, and beyond. And we want to bring the benefits of space science and technology down to Earth. We've had some early successes with funding from the Canadian Space Agency to develop a LiDAR and multispectral system that we're calling the Integrated Vision System. And we're working with the MILO Institute to secure a spot on that lunar ride mission that David mentioned earlier. We also have a really strong heritage in asteroid research here, from looking at near-Earth asteroids to detecting Trojan asteroids around Jupiter to detecting fireballs as they pass through our Earth's atmosphere. And so we're really excited about contributing to the Apophis and NewSpace missions too. So in closing, I'm incredibly excited about this partnership with the MILO Institute. And as David hinted at earlier, acknowledging that actions speak louder than words, I'm really excited that just in this first few months of our partnership, we have something to show for it. And that is the form of a 1-unit CubeSat contribution that our institute has agreed to contribute to this larger 6-unit CubeSat that the MILO Institute and the University of Texas at El Paso are putting together. So I'd like to again thank the MILO Institute, throw this out there to all those potential universities and organizations that are thinking of partnering with the MILO Institute, that, this is real, this partnership does make sense and does lead to actions. And so this is exciting, perhaps a little intimidating, because as David says, we're scheduled for launch already in 2021, in less than a year's time. So I would like to close my remarks here by just saying thank you again to the MILO Institute. And I'd like to pass on now to Dr. Leslie Rigg, who as of a month ago joined us at Western University to be the new Vice President Research. Take it away, Leslie.
Thanks, Oz. I think my main goal today is to really congratulate and thank everybody that came around to make this partnership possible. It takes vision to establish something like this. So I know everybody on the screen needs to be thanked, but there are lots of people behind the scenes as well. So thanks for including me today, Oz. It's quite special. Here at Western, we are proud of the integrated research and training activities that are led by the Institute for Earth and Space Exploration. As Oz mentioned, it was just launched in 2019. And we're thrilled that in that short period of time, the MILO Institute has identified us as a strategic Canadian partner. Our community is excited to send hardware to the moon and to find new ways to observe our own planet. Bigger picture, today's announcement will help us strengthen Canadian and global space exploration efforts. It'll help us support future generations by providing new directions and new research and training opportunities, which is something that we're always looking for. Our students are hungry for these kinds of experiences. Western offers one of Canada's only graduate programs in planetary science, and many of our alumni are pursuing careers in government, mining, space, healthcare. And that's the key. It's easy to think about space research as being something that's removed from our daily lives. And yes, some of it is worlds away, but it's also all around us every single day, from climate science to medicine, geography, linguistics, policy, and telecommunications. We are indebted to the multi and interdisciplinary nature of this work. It changes our world, it truly does. And as Oz mentioned, the interdisciplinary nature of this work is evident in the fact that we have over 64 researchers from 8 different faculties on our campus dedicated to this initiative. Before I end, I get the immense pleasure of introducing Sarah Gallagher, who is a science advisor to the President of the Canadian Space Agency, an extragalactic astronomer, and a professor here in Western's Department of Physics and Astronomy. Sarah, I pass you the baton.
Thank you so much, Leslie. It is my pleasure to be a part of this exciting event and to represent our National Space Agency and inspire younger students to consider careers in space science and advance Canadian contributions to the world scientific community. I work closely with Oz at Western Space and can tell you that many brilliant students and young scientists will be thrilled to become part of the new space research projects pursued by the MILO Institute. Wishing all the best for this exciting chapter for Western Space, I'm delighted to pass the stage to Morad Ratbi, our Trade Commissioner in Los Angeles, who will start the official signature ceremony of this agreement. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gallagher. And again, thanks to all our panelists for your valuable inputs. We had a little glitch over there, but good catch. I just wanted to note that Mr. Zabe Sheikh, Consul General of Canada in Los Angeles for the Southwest USA region, just joined us. Hi, Zabe. As a reminder, we're asking all the panelists to keep mics and cameras off when not speaking. And now I would like to ask Mr. David Thomas from the MILO Space Science Institute and Dr. Rosinski on behalf of Western University to get ready for the MOU signature ceremony. So please, if you can put your cameras on. Excellent. And so while you're signing, I'll just give a little bit of background. This collaboration agreement confirms both parties' commitment to the promotion of technology development, commercialization, and workforce development around space science missions in Arizona, Ontario, and beyond. The partnership provides a clear framework to encourage academic programming elements related to space mission and the origination of space projects between Canadian and US organizations. Let us see those agreements one last time. And thank you, David. Thank you, Dr. Oz. And we can potentially have like a round of virtual applause here. And our hope today is that this signed agreement will pave the way for many more to come between the MILO Space Science Institute, Arizona State University, Lockheed Martin, GEOshare, and their Canadian counterparts. My colleagues and I will certainly keep assisting in identifying and funneling collaboration opportunities as relevant. Canada's Consulate General in Los Angeles for the Southwest USA, Mr. Zabe Sheikh, will now share insights on the governments of Canada commitment to advancing research and science and international collaboration on behalf of Canadian entities. So over to you, Zabe.
Thanks so much, Murad. Really appreciate your work, of course, our team's work at the consulate in Los Angeles, but of course, everyone's work who has helped us galvanize what is happening today. And it's been a long road, so I'll give you a little bit of a little history, if you don't mind. As Murad said, my name is Zabe Sheikh. I'm the Consul General for Southern California, Arizona, and Nevada. And this Arizona relationship, Arizona State University relationship and MILO Institute relationship really started with my first visit as Consul General after my appointment to Arizona, was to visit the campus, the amazing campus that is the MILO Institute and the Arizona State University Space and Innovation Campus, really. And I got to meet with the team and of course got to meet with Dr. Punch, and Murad and I were there. And I remember saying to Murad that we were gonna help Canadians and get Canadians and get us into space. Of course, Canada is a space leader, as we know, but the collaboration, there's Dr. Punch and I, very funny. And of course, Dr. Punch has gone on to become the National Science Advisor to the President, the Director of the federal agency. So big congrats out to him. And when we were coming together with this idea, and here I am, you know, seeing everyone in their backgrounds, and we're talking about space, and I'm firmly terra firma, as they say, my feet planted here with the flags. But the flags really represent the ongoing history and collaboration and real deep relationships that it takes to get to this point where we have this amazing signing ceremony. Even though it's virtual, it would have been really amazing to be there in person with you all. But this was a history of meetings, as people have said, between Lockheed Martin, GEOshare really coming together, Dr. Jim Bell, Dr. Punch, as we've said, and Murad and our team at the consulate, coming together over a period of years, really starting in 2019, 2018 really, and then in 2019 with meetings at Davos between myself and Rick Ambrose and Joe Landon, and then several rounds of meetings with the MILO team in Arizona directly, whether it was with Dr. Bell, David, Scott, and Laura, of course. They were big collaborators and have been leaders in helping us really shape what became an MOU between the consulate, the government, and these entities to partner up and now really launch and bring forth Western University, congratulations, for being the first one to come on board and online as part of this consortium. But really, this is just the beginning. And I'm thrilled personally, as you can tell from this, really thrilled with what our team is doing, and really so glad that we're able to convene as a government in this way, that Canada is able to lead what's surely to be an amazing union, making space travel, research, and the benefits of all that much, not just cheaper in a way where it's, you can have more buy-in, but democratized. That's really what we talked about with MILO Institute. And to democratize this kind of research, data, and even travel is amazing for us. So thanks so much, and I'll pass it back to Murad. Thank you.
Thank you, Zabe, for the shared remarks and the provided background. We will now address some of the questions submitted by the participants to the panelists. Again, put your camera and mics back so we can address the Q&A portion. And we have a first one coming from Chris, who's asking if the funding for Western is coming from the university or the Canadian Space Agency. So maybe Dr. Oz or Dr. Gallagher can help on that one.
For sure. If it's with respect to this first exciting CubeSat announcement, we're doing all of that in-house. You know, the MILO Institute and University of Texas, El Paso are contributing, you know, the launch, which is a big part of the costs, but all the hardware development and the personnel costs, we're doing that as part of our new institute funding from Western University. If we're talking the moon and asteroids, we'll be, you know, out there competing for funds just like other organizations in Canada. So hopefully that answers the question.
Thank you, Dr. Oz. We will tackle the following one right away. It's coming from Ricardo, and I think he's specifically asking about Costa Rica. Are similar agreements with our countries, agencies, or universities in the developing world a possibility and maybe necessary to make this a true global effort? So for that one, maybe I'll pass it to David.
Yes, hi, and thank you, Ricardo, for the question. Most definitely, we will encourage participation from space agencies and universities around the globe. We actually have signed 14 members. 6 of those are already signed up for workforce development and training programs. We're engaged with 5 in mission opportunities. And I'll add a little bit here that in the ability to engage with the international network provides a collaboration that one may not expect. And I think Dr. Osinski can attest to the fact that we were able to connect Western University with another university in the United Kingdom, and there was an interest in potentially partnering on a payload. It provided sort of a win-win scenario for both entities, and this would not be possible without the global consortia approach. And so we think that's one of the tremendous value propositions that we can bring, is to connect your institutions with those around the world who are doing just amazing things like Western. And so most definitely we agree with your question or the assertion that this would be necessary to make this a true global effort. So thank you for that question.
Thank you, David. We will take maybe one last one, so we're respectful of everybody's time. Is there a press release to expect with more details? And I think I can bring it back to you, David, or maybe Dr. Bell, if you want to talk on that one.
Yeah, definitely. We would like to work in collaboration with all of the entities represented on the panel, and we should see something forthcoming as soon as we are able to converge on a final deliverable on that one. So we should see something very soon. Thank you very much.
Questions keep coming, so let me kind of just add on a couple others. We have a question from Aaron asking if the spacesuits are part of the planned research programs. So maybe Dr. Bell?
So Dr. Bell, I believe, had to drop off. Perhaps Dr. Osinski has some thoughts.
I think it's my understanding right now that the philosophy of the MILO Institute is robotic focused. So the robotic exploration of the solar system. So, I mean, developing spacesuits is absolutely, you know, something we're probably all interested in. But the lunar ride and the asteroid missions that David and Jim outlined earlier, and our early partnership with the MILO Institute is definitely purely robotic focused. So, yeah, perhaps in future years, spacesuits will be more on the radar. Perhaps just to address the other question from SpaceQ, Western has put out a kind of small media release just about this event, and of course this event is public and is out there too, so we can connect and share that link with you later on if you can't find it.
Thank you, Dr. Ross. And we have a question from Matthew, who's pretty much wondering what will be the best ways for other Canadian universities to become involved. Maybe I can take actually on that one. The best way will be to reach out to the Trade Commissioner Service or like the government bodies, if you're already connected to the Canadian Space Agency, we're here to help Canadian organizations, and we can funnel your request as relevant and connect you with the colleagues and the partners at the MILO Institute. We have also another one from Tahir, who starts by congratulating all the bodies. This is a great example of novel international collaboration to further deep space science and exploration. And actually, it wasn't a question, it was just a very positive feedback. He's thanking all the panelists for the opportunity to learn more. Thank you, Tahir. One question from Michael, is there room for collaboration with space-based startups in Canada or the US? So once again, I think David or Dr. Oz.
So from the MILO Institute's perspective, we appreciate the fact that the science that's developed by our university partners in many cases will be translated into commercial applications. As I believe Dr. Gallagher mentioned, or Dr. Riggs, the fact that we're working on things that will be flown to the moon. There are many terrestrial applications and commercial market opportunities, and so we want to encourage that. So we definitely want to encourage collaboration with startups and the translation of technology from universities into new ventures. And that's part of the reason we have the Innovation Challenge program, is to really highlight and emphasize the ability of an entrepreneurial approach to grow the nation's space ecosystem. So we highly encourage participation of the startups in partnership with the university who could assist perhaps with the deep space science.
Yeah, and if I could just add from our perspective, in all of these opportunities that we're working on with the MILO Institute, we absolutely welcome partnership and collaborations with startups, so please reach out.
I'd also like to add that the space agency supports our industrial sector on all scales, from small up to really large industrial partners, and we have a really active industrial support branch. And so this is something that we are actively engaged in, supporting international partnerships as well as our internal national industry.
Thank you, Dr. Gallagher. And actually, while we have you kind of like online, we had a follow-up on the initial question from Chris, who wants to better understand like the former relationship with CSA beyond like the MILO and Western agreement signed today.
So this agreement is an agreement between Western and the MILO Institute, and I'm here representing the Space Agency to illustrate our support for these kinds of innovative relationships. We have lots of programs that can support different aspects of partnerships. For example, we have a program that supports training and development of hardware that can lead to flight opportunities. So if we have a Canadian researcher who's able to get a flight opportunity, then we have the resources to support them in developing the hardware for that flight opportunity. So there's lots of different ways where these kinds of partnerships can leverage the resources of the Canadian Space Agency to support them.
Got it. Thank you. Another question from Lindsay, more specifically asking what kind of contribution is MILO looking for when it comes to the Apophis mission?
Yeah, so I will reinforce Dr. Bell's comments. There's really a wide range of possibilities. We have 3 levels of participation, and in the context of payloads, there's visible cameras, IR imaging. There is a concept that has been discussed around a 2 spacecraft instrument that would provide mass, which is a very important measurement for this particular object. And in addition, of course, there's data analysis and processing, student training, and all the way to full spacecraft. If an entity, a nation, a consortium, a smaller consortium of universities would like to contribute the entire spacecraft, we really want to work with our partners and define the opportunity that's best suited for them.
Thank you, David. And before taking maybe one last question, I will ask all panelists to get back online, put your cameras on so we can take a photo souvenir. And the last question will be, are there options of collaborating with MILO without becoming a member? Maybe back to you again, David.
Certainly. I mean, we want to encourage the international collaborations, and so we'd be more than happy to discuss opportunities to engage in which we might be able to link your science verticals, your technology areas of strength with other organizations within our network that are working perhaps in a similar area. We are doing training, we're doing webinars, so most definitely there are ways in which you can engage prior to joining as a member.
Murad, and if I can just
Thank you so
quickly
much,
step in, sorry, just to say that, you know, I think in Canada, we're always rather shy about our achievements and our collaborations, but and we don't big up enough in the way that our American friends really do about their collaborations, their academic institutions, their space agency, their government. The idea of what you can achieve together and where you could go is really important. So just another shout out and thanks to the Canadian Space Agency, to the MILO Institute, and to Western for coming on board with this initiative and this idea, because this is going to power not just Canada, but the world. We know that. And we couldn't do it without our partners, and we couldn't do it without such an amazing Canadian Space Agency, as well as our academic institutions. So thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you for the input, Zabe. We're getting very close to the end of our webinar, so I would like to thank the participant who joined us online today. We are unfortunately running out of time, so I'm sorry to the participants that submitted some questions. If you have more, please send them to the email address that will pop on your screen right now. We will make sure to provide answers in our follow-up communications and to the registered participants. Once again, congratulations to Western University and MILO Space Science Institute. Thank you all and have a great day.